liking the medium so far?
I really love it. I was really nervous when I started out because I've always loved reading comics, but to me the idea of how do you put this on a page and how do you get all the panels and the dialogue and oh my gosh, I was more nervous about does my script look like a script than about the story. I was I could tell you a story, guys, but well, what do I do here? And thankfully, everyone has been very patient. I have a great editorial team. I have a great creative team, and I think we're telling a really fun story.
I'm happy you brought that up because I wanted to know what your scripts look like. As someone who writes in a bunch of mediums, I know it doesn't always look the same. So I'm interested to know how much description you put in your scripts, how much you give to your art team, and kind of how you frame it.
It kind of depends. I'm very lucky in that my art team is, I've got Tom Fowler on art and Jordan Boyd on colors, and they are both doing a tremendous job. And Tom is really great at looking at the my two sentences. It's I want it to feel sort of scary, and the buildings are hunching over, and actually drawing a page that makes sense with that. So a lot of what I talked about is a specific feeling that I want the panel to have, a specific emotion that I want things. Sometimes visual references, oh, can you make this character do a face like this? And so I'll send a picture of a face instead of trying to describe that because then we'd be there all day. And so it really did. And that's actually been really freeing, is figuring out what works in terms of what translates to them so that we can tell the story together.
Totally. And it seems like you have a great art team. You have a great team on Books of Magic. The Vertigo team, all the creators, we just heard from them at the Vertigo panel, are incredible. How have you liked kind of hanging out with them and getting to know them and kind of creating this cute little family, making this line of books that are just so badass?
The cute family that tells the terrible horror stories together. But it's been great. It's really, I love collaborative art and collaborative projects. I think it's really just fabulous to be able to work with other people and learn new things from them. But this team, everyone that I've met has just been really enthusiastic and really supportive of each other and just really excited about telling great stories. And that's really a gift.
Totally. And I wanted to touch on, obviously I want to hear how you would describe Books of Magic, because we've seen a little bit of it in the Sandman Universe special. Obviously it was a book already, Neil Gaiman did it. What is it to you? What are you pulling out of it? Because we talked at the panel about emotion, people adding emotion and personal story to what they're doing. How are you doing that with a book that we kind of already saw, but not really?
Right. And there's the freedom there of I kind of have a story that people know, and so some of the references are built in, and that's great. Some of the references are built in because I'm following in Neil Gaiman's footsteps, which is totally a no pressure job. But it's great because I do know those references, and I do know those comics and those stories, and so it feels like being able to speak in a language that I have, and bringing that emotion and bringing the thing that really mattered to me was the emotion of Tim as a kid. In this situation. I mean, some of it's really scary and some of it's really cool, but I keep trying to bring myself back to, this is a 13-year-old kid, and he's a human kid. I mean, yes, he's going to be a powerful magician and everything else, but this is a lot for him to deal with. And so just the uncertainty and that massive responsibility that's been put on him, and so being able to bring out what those things are like, that's one of the things I really want to put on the page, aside from cool magic.
Yes, cool magic is always great. And this is a story about magic, but this is a story about teenagers and people growing up. And you say those things, and as someone who grew up in the 90s, my first thought is Harry Potter. So how do you differentiate? When you know part of your audience is going to automatically think of that, how do you make sure you say, yeah, that's a great story, but I got something different for you?
Right. It's kind of fun. I love Harry Potter. It's one of my favorite series, reread it all the time. And, but the thing is, okay, yes, you have some similarities. You've got a boy wizard. He has an owl, oh gosh. But, it kind of ends there. This is not, the school that he goes to is not a magic school. There's not classes. He's doing this on his own. He's very isolated from the rest. It's not like a new world to fit into. It's a world that he increasingly understands he doesn't quite fit in at all. And so it's sort of figuring out his place. He also has, the thing with Harry had the great destiny from the beginning. He knew he was going to be the good guy. And there's it's probably not fun to be the chosen one anytime because that's a lot of responsibility, but when you know you're going to make the right choices, that's great. Tim doesn't know he's going to make the right choices. In fact, what he knows is that there's a whole huge chance that he makes really wrong ones, and that kind of haunts him. He doesn't want to make those choices. He doesn't want to be evil or destroy the world or anything else. He wants to help people out and be a good kid. You don't always know what that is. I mean, forget being 13. I don't even know what that is all the time, and I'm a grown-up person, So that's the other thing that's been really interesting to write in this story is how much choice does he have, and how do those choices fall out?
Totally. That's fascinating. I cannot wait to read it. Remind us when the first issue comes out.
October 24th, which is very soon.